In 1998, Warrell Dane found himself haunted by his past. In a recurring dream, he saw a young woman drowning in a lake, crying out to him in desperation. The dream, as well as the real-life horror that inspired it, became the basis of an entire concept album released the following year. In the time since, more details have surfaced about the identity of the woman, her relationship to Dane, and the circumstances of her disappearance. This is the real-life story behind Nevermore's 1999 album, Dreaming Neon Black. With 2 albums, an EP, and some touring experience to their name, up-and-coming metal band Nevermore was heading back into the studio once more. Within the first writing sessions, it became clear that this album was going to be different.
That was a hard write. That was very hard because it was so personal. It was like ripping my heart out and putting it onto a CD.
It's a very simple story about a man who slowly goes insane after losing a woman that he was very close to, and progressive levels of insanity are expressed in the song.
Tension, delirium, growing every day.
He goes through phases of denial, of self-blame, blaming God, and then finally denouncing God.
Please God.
The woman in the story comes up throughout the album, culminating in the title track, which gives voice to her ethereal existence. In the song, the protagonist laments losing the woman he loved and is unable to let go of her as he still sees her over and over in his dreams.
Meet me in the dreamtime water drop.
As for the meaning of the title,
it's a secret. The Dreaming Neon Black is a metaphor. I mean, it's not meant to be taken seriously because it makes no sense in the literal sense. You know, if you're listening to the record and paying very close attention to all the lyrics, by the end, I think that it becomes apparent exactly what it means.
And that ending came together in the nick of time.
And I was together with Jim Shepard, and he's like, I have this bass part, listen to it. I'm like, okay. And so I have the perfect lyrics. And I started to write the lyrics for Forever, the last song. And when we went to Neil Kernan, he was like, are you f***ing kidding me? You want to add one more song now at the very end? I'm like, yeah, it's important. It's the end of the story. And then when we were done recording it, he was like, oh my God, you guys were right.
You are forever in my heart, you'll never die.
Nevermore's third album, Dreaming Neon Black, was finally released in January 1999. But unbeknownst to the fans at the time, much of this dark story was, in fact, Warrell Dane's living nightmare. This episode is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. If you're enjoying our content and want to help us sustain it, head over to patreon.com/Raz Ben Ari and you'll be first to see our new videos plus extras. Thanks for watching. In 1989, about a decade before the release of Dreaming Neon Black, Dane was in a loving relationship with the woman of his dreams, Patricia Candace Walsh, only 24 years old at the time. Regrettably, the relationship didn't last. Patricia, who was swayed by another man, berated Warrell for being evil and satanic in her eyes, before cutting off all communication. She went on to marry her new partner, a religious man by the name of Douglas Eskowski, and the two left Seattle to hitchhike across the country, seeking to attend a religious event in Georgia. But after nothing has been heard from the couple in a while, their families reported them missing. During this time, Dane feared for the worst. It wasn't until a couple of years later that the first bit of news came back.
The remains of Douglas were located around 1990, but there was not a formal identification of it being Douglas Eskowski till 1992 through dental records. So there wasn't much to go on. There was no witnesses. There were several suspects, but nobody was actually linked to the crime.
Believing the couple succumbed to the evil doings of a dangerous cult, Warrell Dane went on carrying his burden close to his chest, up until the writing sessions for Dreaming Neon Black.
Christ is a weapon that Jesus had our
Patricia Candace Walsh, that was her name. She was with me in spirit. She guided me, told me what to do every step. Maybe it's just in my mind. I could be crazy, but I felt her presence through the whole thing.
Several years after the album's release, police was finally able to piece together what had really happened.
Well, eventually there was more analysis of evidence. Now we had Patricia Candace Walsh's remains. What had happened on that is eventually there was a match that was located on a white towel that was seized from Robert Ben Rhodes's truck that was matched to the DNA of Patricia Candace Walsh.
While Patricia was imagined by Warrell to have been ditched in a river, in reality she was fatally shot, but not before enduring a great deal of abuse.
The killer got rid of the male first, and then kept the female in his care, custody, and control for several states over several weeks.
A Texas trucker who kept a torture dungeon in the cab of his long-haul rig has received life prison sentences for murdering a hitchhiking couple 2 decades ago. Robert Ben Rhodes, who already is serving a life sentence for killing a 14-year-old girl in Illinois, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of capital murder. Described by authorities as a sadistic killer, Rhodes was charged with the 1990 abductions and slayings of newlyweds Douglas Scott Zaskowski, 28, and Patricia Walsh, 24. Rhodes, who is now known as the truck stop killer, will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. Yet law enforcement believes he was responsible for many more cases for which there is no evidence and are left unresolved to this day. The tragedy that spelled Patricia Walsh's end is now forever encapsulated in Dreaming Neon Black. Upon release, the album was highly acclaimed by critics. If ever there was a record that drags listeners into and under its somber storyline, it is the new masterpiece from Nevermore. To fully understand the treasure that this record is for the metal community in 1999, one must go from start to finish. But this was not the end for Nevermore. The album was supported by a long tour, starting with a CD release party, which featured Pamela Moore as the drowning woman, the same Pamela Moore who sang as Sister Mary in Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime. And despite the album's success, this was just the beginning of their ascent. If you'd like to see what happened next, subscribe and keep an eye out for the next part. Also, check out our previous documentaries on Pantera, Dream Theater, System of a Down, Children of Bodom, and others. My name is Raz, and for myself and the team, thank you for watching. Until next time.